Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Sanders, and this is Watch Art Side, the art and science of watch collection. Today, what I'd like to talk about is watches with a Geneva Seal. The Geneva Seal has traditionally been a mark or a punch that says this watch has a movement that meets all of our very high standards. Now, the getting one can be a little problematic for two reasons. One, there aren't that many. There are a lot around, but the other part, of course, is find them very expensive. We're going to start off with one that's from a place that you probably wouldn't expect, uh, but it's really expensive. But it was a watch sort of found very interesting. This is the name of the watch is Patek de Cartier. Now that's sort of a whole line of watches, a whole line of models of watches, and this one is a tourbillon volant squelette, which means skeleton, and it's a woman's watch. It's 42 millimeters, and it's 142,000 euro. So it's like, okay. The name of the caliber is 9457 MC. MC stands for Manufacturer Cartier. It's got a manual wind, which I like. It's got a flying tourbillon, 3 hertz, 21,600 semi oscillations per hour, 50-hour power reserve. A nice watch. Most of us don't have 142,000 euro for something like that. And it's a ladies' watch, and so most of the watch collectors are guys. It doesn't mean that there aren't some women, because I know there are, and they're great. But one of the things they found, I really haven't paid much attention to the Patek de Cartier. Uh, I don't know why, but I haven't. But when I was looking at this, I found this one called the Cartier Pasha Sea Timer. It's a GMT watch. The one I found was 3373. I saw some other ones that were a lot less expensive. I happen to like this one a lot. It has a Cartier caliber 480 that's based on the Girard Perregaux 3100. It's automatic, 40 50 hour reserve, 4 hertz. But sort of a cool watch, 38 millimeter. So there's one you can't afford, and it has a Geneva seal. There's another one though that you may be able to afford, and you might even like. Doesn't have a Geneva seal though. Just thought I'd mention it. Okay, moving right along. Now the next one is a Patek Philippe, and Patek Philippe used to basically had a corner on most of the Geneva Seals. You get I had one from this, got an older one, Calatrava, and it had a Geneva Seal on it, but it was like from the 60s, I think, or something, but a wonderful watch. Now, a watch that has been my grail watch for years, and for some reason I never brought myself to get it. Not because I didn't like it. There was always something I thought, well, I like this one better, or something like that. This one is a Gondolo. Gondolo line has been canceled by Patek Philippe. The caliber 5124G-001 pre 2009. That's the big thing, because in 2009 Patek Philippe started using silicon and their hairsprings, and I guess the Geneva Seal people didn't like it, and there's some big fight over it. So Patek Philippe decided they can have their own seal. So they have a PP seal, sort of two P's, one above the other, but it's not a Geneva seal. It's Patek Philippe. They still make very good watches, I might add. Okay, so but if you want one with a Geneva seal, you're going to have to find something before 2009, and this is one I found. Now, with this particular model, they have them before and after 2009. So some of them have a Geneva seal, some of them have the double P seal. So that's something. Now, what I like about this watch is just about everything. It's manual winding. It has sort of a look from just sort of a cool look to it. Art Deco, I think. It was sort of the kind of Manhattan Art Deco, and so I like that a lot. 44-hour reserve, and of course the Geneva Seal. And you can see it on the back if you flip it over. That's another thing I like. It has a exhibition window in the back, and so you can see all of the movement. And if you look up in the corner, you can see the Geneva Seal. It's sort of hard. The pictures that I found with them on it were a little blurry, so they didn't turn out so good. But that's another place, and not only the Gondolo, all of them before 2009. You can find some Calatravas and some other ones you might like. Sort of the same grouping. Okay, now this next watch is probably where you're going to find the largest variety and the best prices on Geneva Seal watches. And these are Roger Dubuis watches. There's nothing wrong with the quality of them, and that's why they're not as expensive. They're just not as they're some watches aren't as popular as others. But Roger Dubuis watches, not only do you have one of the top watchmakers, you also have a good price on them. This particular one was only $38.41. I found that on either Chrono 24 or eBay, one of the two. And it's called the SE46.14.7. It's a serial number on it. It's Sympathy Easy Diver. Sympathy is sort of a funny little thing that they have on the Roger Dubuis watches. It's sort of a trademark of his. Now, the movement in it is the RD14. At one time, I had one of these. I had an Easy Diver, a different model of the Easy Diver. That thing kept great time. It was fantastic. They're big watches, though, and I'm not exactly a, outdoorsman kind of guy, but I really like that watch. This particular one has a rubber strap, and most of them do. So it's an honest to goodness sports watch. Now, the one I have, in fact, the one I'm wearing, is called a Roger Dubuis La Monégasque. The one I have, I got sort of the roulette version of it that they for the casino in Monte Carlo. Monégasque are sort of the name for the people who live in Monaco, sort of a thing like New Yorkers or San Franciscans. But they're called Monégasque. That watch is it's for an everyday watch. Mine's a little fancier. Maybe it's you could pass it off as a dress watch. Fantastic watch, automatic. It has an RD 821 in it. RD is for Roger Dubuis. So you can find a lot of different models, and believe me, they have a wide variety. Some are pretty out way off the beaten path, I might say. So that's another source if you're interested in getting a Geneva Seal watch. Now, this next one is one that is probably I talk about too much. Because one of my favorite watches, and again, it's another watch. I don't know how come I never got around to not getting this one, but I haven't. This is Vacheron Constantin Quadrilleo. Now, the Quadrilleo was not that popular. I don't know why, but it wasn't. In 2016, when the new overseas came out, I went down to the Vacheron Constantin boutique in New York City, and I was looking for a new overseas. And I was going to trade in my old overseas for the new one. And no trade-ins. I don't know. They were very abrupt about it, and I was sort of put off by them. And so, but during that time, I tried on one of these Quadrilleos, and I swear I liked it even better than I liked the overseas, and I liked the overseas a whole lot. This one just at least fit me better in terms of the way it looks and everything else. What it is, though, it's got the Vacheron Constantin caliber 5100/1, which is the same thing, same movement that's in the overseas. Automatic, Geneva Seal, 4 hertz, 60-hour reserve. It's great. On the back, it's got two punches. One is on the plate, and the other one is on the back. I guess you call it the back bezel. It's not a bezel, but on the rim of the sort of the back, the rim of the back. Both of them have Geneva Seal punches, and then it has a runium rotor on the overseas. They have a gold one. So anyhow. But this is this is a great deal. This one I found was $99.33. And you can find them in different places. All of the ones that I saw on Chrono 24 were from outside of the U.S. And right now, outside of the U.S., coming into the U.S., there's a huge tariff on it. I hope that will go away soon. But I also know you can pick one up at Joma Shop, has some Quadrilleros. So they're around if you're interested. And like I said, they're another one with the Geneva Seal. This is another one. This is another Vacheron Constantin that I have with the Geneva Seal. This is the Historique Americaine 1921. Same thing. It's on the back here. It's got it. You have to poke around. There it is, on the plate. The whole point of the Geneva Seal centers around pretty much around the movement, and they've got these standards, and so they can get expensive. Okay, so those are the first four. Now this last one is interesting. Chopard LUC. Now there's a lot of different Chopard LUCs. This particular one has the 1.96 movement. That's the big thing. It's a movement with a micro rotor, so it's an automatic. It has something called the LUC twin technology. And what they did, they wanted to have double barrels, but if they put them next to each other and then they put in that micro rotor that takes up real estate on the base plate, there wouldn't be any room for the balance wheel and some of the other parts. And so they stacked them, which I thought was a neat idea. And it's a beautiful movement, and in my opinion, it's also a beautiful watch. Now, one of the problems was finding one that was available. There are some, I mean, don't get me wrong, but a lot of them were like they had a price, but they'd been sold, and it's sort of hard to say, well, this is what you can expect. You can expect, I think, at least around 20,000 for one like this. But this is quite a nice watch. I don't think they're still making this one. That's the other thing, too. I think a lot of watch companies, except for Roger Dubuis, Vacheron Constantin, they just, man, it's too big of a hassle going through all of everything you have to do to get your movements approved by Geneva Seal. But on the other hand, if you do, you're getting a really nice one. Okay, so those are some of the hunting grounds that you may be able to find them in. And of course, you can look in all of the different places they sell watches in all the different countries all over the world that has them. And like I said, I have two. They're both excellent watches. I have no issue with them. And if you have any of these, I would really like to hear about it. And even more so, if you have a watch by a brand that I didn't mention, because I'm sure there are more where they have at one time or another, they came up with a Geneva Seal on one of their movements, really like to find out about it. This is an opportunity to subscribe if you like. And until next time, this is Bill Sanders for Watch Art Sci, the art and science of watch collection.